What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Oscar's Cozy Corner. Today, Gameloft have dropped the key art for the next Disney Dreamlight Valley free base game update, the Winter Ball, of course, bringing Cinderella to the Valley in a much anticipated update with a much anticipated princess. The key art for the game often gives us an idea of what is to come with that update before we get the additional information from Gameloft. We usually see some sort of outfit, the character themselves, maybe their house, and a few other little bits and pieces in the background. So let's just jump straight into it. Let's see what this key art contains. Let's see if we can see anything new, and we'll take a look at what is to come on December 10th. All right, so you can see a nice 4K version of this key art on my screen at the moment. We can see Cinderella right in the center, looking very beautiful as always, very regal. They've changed the model for Cinderella slightly from the very first trailer that we got of the game. Of course, that was, I think, 3.5 years ago now. She was in her blue apparel, and I believe her hair was a little bit more yellow. So they did go with the marketing version of Cinderella, which we know often has that blue dress. But bringing her to the game now, they seem to have walked back on that a little bit. They've put her in a nice silvery shimmery dress and adjusted the hair color as well to a more classic Cinderella look. We did already get a look at her in the showcase, of course. We saw a little bit of her model animation, but she looks great here. I think she looks fantastic. The pose is cute. That what does make me wonder if that's going to be her selfie pose. One thing about the selfie poses, just while I can get on my soapbox, I do wish that they did the pose that they did in selfie camera in every other camera. I wish the villagers did have a little bit more animation to them in the second and third camera, but that's a little quality of life upgrade, hopefully for another day. On the whole, I think Cinderella looks great. I love the dress. I wonder if we'll get a player version of that at some point in the premium shop. We have seen that in the past, so that is a possibility. We did see it with Jasmine just very recently, but on the whole, I think the character model looks very good, and I think people will be happy with how she looks. We can also see a house in the background, so I'm assuming that this is probably going to be Cinderella's castle. I'm not sure if I've seen it in that colorway before. This could be Cinderella's house. We do often see Gameloft put the villager houses in the background of key art. This could also possibly be a premium shop item or even the bonus reward for the next star path, whatever that does end up being called, because we do not have the name for it yet. But I'm gonna say that it's probably Cinderella's house. It looks like Cinderella's castle. I mean, it's quite difficult for them to do that because the dream castle in the game is obviously based on Cinderella's castle. And then there's a little bit of a mishmash with parks and stuff like that, all having their own castles. But this one does seem to be, at least to me, as though that is where she is going to live, because the blue matches the blue of the carriage that we can see Fairy Godmother stood in front of. And of course, as for the Fairy Godmother herself, I do anticipate her being involved in Cinderella's questline, or at least in Cinderella's arrival in some capacity. They do go together. I can see them being enmeshed or intertwined. And it'll be nice to have the Fairy Godmother kind of come back into the gameplay a little bit. I feel like some of those early characters often just get left behind. Yes, we have stuff in the Star Path where we need to talk to them and gift them and things like that. But in terms of actual quests, we're actually bringing them back into the storyline and into the game. It's nice to see some of those earlier characters get some love sometimes. So I am hopeful that the Fairy Godmother will be included. And I do have her in her little winter getup in the moment. They're using her default state here, but she does, of course, have a very printer? She might have a printer. I don't know. Pretty winter. Pretty winter dream style as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully the Fairy Godmother being a part of that storyline. And it does look as though her wand is creating a little sea for Cinderella, which is a very cute little Easter egg, if that is the case. Of course, we do get a player on the front of the key art as well. That is usually the case. We usually see them in some sort of Star Path outfit. That is what is most often presented to us for a little teaser or a taster of what is to come with the update. So we can see on the left, we've got a male avatar or a male presenting avatar in some sort of suit. It looks to me possibly as though the only thing new is a suit jacket. The one thing that I am picking up on is he's holding a cup of coffee. I don't think we can do that in the game, but then often they put stuff in the key art that we can't actually do in game, so it wouldn't surprise me if we never be able to get to do that. But part of me does wonder if this is some sort of cozy Christmas star path or I don't know, some festive star path that, you know, drinking hot chocolate and things like that come with the territory. So they could have added an additional pose for our player avatars where we hold a nice hot drink. That would be very cute, but if not, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen something that we can't have. The jacket is okay. It looks, I mean, yes, I can identify it's Christmas. I think that's the only thing new. I think we have the pants and the shirt and the shoes. So I don't know. Yeah, it's okay. The colors are kind of Christmassy, and that's about where that stops. As for the female avatar, I do really like this one. Obviously, the pants and the shoes are not new. We do have those in game, but the coat with the fur lining, I love the coat with the collar and also the fur trim on the, well, I guess the hand collars, the wrists as well. And then there's a little trim on the bottom. And of course, there's that kind of like Russian style hat. I don't know if that's the official name for it. I don't think Russian hat is, but there is that furry Russian hat. The one thing about this, they've done a really good job with making this look like fur, which kind of begs the question to me is why Cruella's actual outfit herself looks like mashed potato. And I said that during my streams last week. Cruella's outfit just gives mashed potato to me. There's not really any fur definition on it, whereas they can clearly do fur, because the first thing I spotted was the fur trim on that coat and that hat. So they've pulled it off very, very well with this outfit. I really like it. I think it looks cool. It's definitely wintry. I prefer it to the male outfit, but what is new there? Finally, we can see the companion, what is presumably from the Star Path for this update. It looks like another baby Pegasus, but this is one decked out in a Christmassy vibe. So it's got a little tartan by the look of it, a little checkered coat on with a hood, with again some sort of lining on it, and then there seems to be a little bell and a bow on the neck, and also these adorable little green boots. This outfit definitely gives me Christmas. This gives me more festivity than the male avatar gives, I suppose, but I really like this one. I think it's super, super cute. I think people will be on board with this. It's giving a little bit more traditional Christmas colors than we've had in the past. Obviously, we've been involved in a lot of frosty, kind of icy blue stuff up until now, so it's nice to see some of those traditional Christmas colors, or at least traditional festive colors, come back into the game. So if this is the theme for the Star Path, which is actually what I can see happening now, I did wonder if they would change approach, because when Gameloft do something, they tend to swing the pendulum back the other way. So when people were saying, we've had enough of icy, we've had enough of frost, fairies, all of that sort of thing, Gameloft tend to overcorrect sometimes, and then they go all in on the opposite, which has happened multiple times before. But I'm very happy if that's the case this time, because it does mean we might be getting some of those more, I don't know, nostalgic is probably the best way of saying it, nostalgic, feel good sort of aesthetics and vibes for the Star Path. So I am hopeful with how this one turns out. And very finally, just before we finish up, I'm looking at this path and I'm not sure if we have this in game yet or not. It kind of looks like the snowy path, but it has gaps in it. And it doesn't look that snowy. I don't know. It looks like a different tone. And also, these boulders on the edge are different to what we see on the actual snowy path in game. It's very slightly different, not hugely, but it is slightly different. These look more like the rock rug that we have in the game. It's almost as if they've taken some of the rocks off there. And also, this path looks kind of curved to me. I don't know. There's a little bit of curvature to it. It doesn't look so diagonal. So could this be the update where we finally get curved pathing a year after they announced it? I don't know. It looks as though, at least to me, it could be a possibility. I've said this before, and I have brought it up actually months ago, and they have done stuff in key art where it makes it look like something and it's not quite. But I'm not sure. Let me know down in the comments if you recognize this path. I might be off base here, but I don't think that this is a path that we currently have in the game. So either it might be a new path, some sort of style adjustment to one that we have, something completely different, or just something that they've made for the key art. But let me know your thoughts down below. All right, gang, that is it for this video. Like I said, just a quick little look at that key art and possibly some new items and maybe new pathing coming to the game with the Winter Ball update on December 11th. Very exciting times. Soon after the release of Wish Blossom Ranch, it's a very fun time to be a player of Disney Dreamlight Valley at the moment. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Are you happy with what you've seen? Are you looking forward to the Star Path? I'm eager to hear what you think. As always, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like, maybe subscribe to the channel for more Disney Dreamlight Valley content. We've got builds, tips, tricks, guides, the whole works. You know where to find it. We'd love you to be part of our cozy corner. I'm going to leave it there for today. I will catch you in the next one, and I will, of course, see you in the valley.